How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio, the 16 Jackson AJ1 Twitter account, and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. Just finished having a great conversation with Cameron Harr. Wanted to thank him for coming on the show. Like I said, we had a great conversation, and it's very nice to be able to, have a talk with him and kind of, get to know what he's been up to, because I haven't been able to, contact him as much as I would have liked, obviously with this time in Chile. And I'm glad that I've managed to stay in touch with people. And, for anybody that's listening, that maybe, in high school or just early in college, stay in touch with people, because I feel like a lot of people right when they graduate college, they're super emotional and, they're crying and stuff when they graduate. It's a good moment, but they all start thinking, oh, I'm not going to see these people again. And that doesn't have to be the case. If you actually, if you care enough about certain people, you'll put the time in to still want to, stay in touch with them. And, that could be for as many people as you want to care about. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I think that's something that's very important that I've been fortunate enough to be able to do. Basically, in this last part of the podcast, I'm going to do what I can't do now at Sac State, now that it's the summertime, and that's review some WWE stuff. And I've had a few things on my mind that I wanted to talk about, specifically from Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And I figured this would be a good way to kind of go about it here, and then I'll finish everything off here in this part. So, WWE Money in the Bank. General thoughts before I get into specific matches. It was a great pay-per-view with a shit ending. There were some awesome moments in it. I think potential moment of the year and then a potential worst moment of the year were both in this pay-per-view. But I think there were some great matches. I think that there were some matches that were definitely already candidates of the year. I thought for a post-WrestleMania pay-per-view, they put on a very good show. There's just certain issues that I have with it, which I will get into specifically when we go through the matches. So without further ado, let me go ahead and jump right into it. So on the kickoff show, we get the tag team match between Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who did not put their titles on the line, against the Raw Tag Team, the Usos, who just got drafted to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup. This was not for the title. We may see a title match in the future. Overall, for, it being the only kickoff show, I thought it was pretty good. For, a one, match kickoff show, they did a great job. Rowan had a Slipknot shirt on, which I was really liked, which was really cool. And the reason I say that is not just because I like Slipknot, but because one of the members of Slipknot had their daughter pass away earlier that day. A very, a very heartbreaking, thing to see. And, it was nice to see WWE kind of allow him to dress with that. I would assume that that's the reason why he had it on. And so I just noticed that, and I thought that was pretty cool. But, overall, this match had a lot of great stuff going on, a lot of great action. The Usos hit their double splash on Daniel Bryan to win, and so the Usos win this match. I'd give it a solid, B- to start off the show. It wasn't anything great, but, it was a good way to kind of get the crowd going, and it led right into the pay-per-view, which I think couldn't have started any better. It was a great start to the pay-per-view. They decided to start with the Women's Money in the Bank contract. Now, before the show went on air, they had Naomi's entrance, which made me think, did they start out a little bit early by accident? But then they when they went live, they still had her music playing, but it was after an intro. It was kind of weird. It was almost like it was a little bit of a botch on the production side of things. But regardless, we get the Women's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or Money in the Bank contract match, ladder match. And this was between Naomi, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Natalya, and Nikki Cross, who was stepping in for an injured Alexa Bliss. And I hope that everything's okay, because there's still a lot of stuff going on with concussion news for her. So I hope that everything ends up being okay with her, because she's one of, in my opinion, the most charismatic people in the women's division. It would suck to, not see her perform that much anymore. So everything, thoughts are with her, and hopefully everything's fine with her concussion issues. And then Bayley. And Bayley won the match, and I thought it was the right decision. I was having a hard time choosing between Bayley or Alexa Bliss for this one, but when Alexa went out, I was like, okay, Bayley needs to win this. This would be a good moment for her. She's gone through creative hell, and she won. And I thought it was, they did a lot of cool stuff. I think the spot of the match was probably when Ember Moon hit the Eclipse from atop a ladder outside of the ring, jumping inside the ring to kind of take Natalya out of the match. Took her out of the match as well, because she never got a chance to climb the ladder. Rose hit her with the fairy tale ending on the ladder. Mandy Rose was kind of out of it for a while. Sonya Deville, which is her partner, was at ringside. Very impressive. She got Mandy up on her shoulders and started to almost like fireman climb the ladder up, and very impressive show of strength. Mandy was up. She had the briefcase in her hand. Bayley comes sprinting up the ladder, stares both of them in the face, pushes them both down. She grabs the briefcase, and that's the match. And I thought this was an awesome way to start off the show. I gave it an A-. There were a couple spots that I think were a little bit kind of gross looking, I would say. There was a couple points where I forget who it was, but they were sandwiched with the ladder, and there was another part that was kind of a bad moment as well. Oh yeah, it was Carmella. So Mandy Rose kicked Carmella's leg into the ladder, and it looked like she was for sure injured because she went over to the ropes. She was holding it. She pushed Mandy off like 3 times, and then medical staff actually looked at her. I thought she was legitimately injured, and I still think she might have been. But she went to the back. She ended up coming out later on, limping to the ring. So it could have just been, kayfabe. It could have been real. I don't know, but it was definitely a gross-looking spot. But as I'll get into it, the men's match, it was nowhere near as bad as some of the spots in that one. But overall, A- for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Then we get into another, what I would call a squash match. Again, we had a squash match where Samoa Joe beat Mysterio at WrestleMania. Now, that was obviously because Rey was semi-injured with his, I believe, ankle going into the show. But we get a botchy-looking pinfall ending to this match. And I'm so sick of these botchy pinfalls. We saw one in the main event of WrestleMania. I don't know if it's storyline. If it is, it's terrible writing. I'll get into the referee stuff of this show too. But basically, this was another squash match. Samoa Joe hit what looked like he was going to hit the, I believe, Insanagi. Rey countered it into Hurricanrana, I think. And then I think he got the legs on Joe and got the pinfall, even though Joe's left shoulder wasn't down. The ref didn't see it, and that was the match. And so Rey is now, I don't know, I think that's a Grand Slam champion, I think, now that he's won the United States Championship. I'm happy to see Rey win another title. I just don't know if this was the right way to go about it. But regardless, I think we're going to see the blow-off at SummerSlam between these two. It's interesting to see how Dominic's factoring into everything, too. Rey's real-life son. He's actually signed to WWE, so it'll be interesting if he gets input in a storyline anywhere wrestling-wise. But basically, after the match, Joe came back in, beat up Mysterio for a bit as Dominic looked on. I gave this match a C+. I can't give a squash match much better than a C+. That was just my thoughts on that. As we get into the next match, we get Shane McMahon versus The Miz, and I am so sick of this feud, and I still think it's going to continue to go on, and it probably will finish at SummerSlam. This is just a terrible feud. I hate this feud. There's nothing good coming out of it for either one. Shane's 48. He's the boss's son. Miz is a person who's only won the WWE title once. He deserves another title. It's not doing anything for his career. And the match was boring. I mean, you got CM Punk chants throughout the match. You got AEW chants throughout the match. Basically, what happened is McMahon immediately tried to escape through the cage upon the bell ringing. Miz was able to pour on the offense throughout. He grabbed a steel chair eventually after Shane brought it in the ring. He hit Shane about 4,000 times with it. Miz tried to escape. Shane came up. They had a nice brawl on top of the cage, which was probably the best part of the match. Miz hit probably the worst looking frog splash I've ever seen in my life. If you get a chance, go look at it. It's probably up on YouTube. And then just some terrible stuff happened after that. It was kind of boring for a while. Miz hit a skull-crushing finale on the steel chair. They went up to the other side of the steel cage. Miz looked like he was going to try to superplex Shane back into the ring like he did at WrestleMania when Shane won on the pinfall after the superplex from Miz off the scaffolding. And it looked like Miz was going to do it again. But as Miz was trying to superplex him, Shane's shirt came off as Miz was trying to grab a hold of Shane, and Shane fell all the way to the ground, both feet hitting the floor, and Shane wins. I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't get this feud at all. If anything was going to come out of it, I'd have Miz win to make him look stronger. What the hell is this doing for Shane? They said they were not going to do authority angles anymore. This makes no sense. I gave this a C- because I dislike it. I dislike the storyline. I dislike everything about it. There was a couple of good, like I said, a couple of good parts of it. I don't think it was any better or worse than the WrestleMania match. I just think that now at this point, the storyline's getting even older than it was at WrestleMania. So that's my thoughts on that. Getting into the next match, we actually get a 205 match on the pay-per-view and not on the kickoff show, which I was really happy about. We get the Cruiserweight Championship being defended by Tony Nese against Araya Daivari, and Daivari comes out on, I want to say it was like a convertible. It's almost like an Alberto Del Rio entrance, which was really cool. The only problem is a lot of people probably didn't see it because it was during the Game of Thrones finale, right when this match started. But it was a great match overall. I gave it a B. I thought it was great to have a 205 live on the show. Nese hit an insane corkscrew off the top rope, followed by a 450 splash. It was unable to get the fall. Daivari hit his finisher, and then Nese did the running Nese into the corner, which won the match. Overall, great match. I thought it was nice to see the Cruiserweights finally on the main show. After that, we got the whole thing throughout the night was Sami Zayn, because he got in the match after beating Braun Strowman on Raw last week, and he was asking for Triple H to bar Strowman from the arena because he was worried that Strowman would come after him, and eventually we see Sami Zayn being hung with his feet on top and his head down at the bottom, being hung upside down on a gate. He's taken to a hospital. People think it's Strowman. It ended up not being that, and I'll let you know who it was later on. But basically, sorry, my friend just texted me. Basically, what happened is, Jesus Christ, I lost my train of thought. He's being hung. Oh yeah, Triple H kicks Strowman out, and Strowman's just like, whatever. So that's pretty much it for that. Then we get back to the matches on the show, and we have the Raw Women's Championship, the first of the two matches for Becky Two Belts, being defended against Lacey Evans. She beat Lacey with the disarmor. This match, in my opinion, wasn't the best. I'm not a Lacey Evans fan, and I don't mean that just because of the stupid booking they had of her coming out for 1,000 entrances from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. I'm just not a fan of her in general. I don't think that she's great in the ring either. I'm just not a big fan. Crowd was on fire for Lynch. She got a significant amount of the offense in the match. Evans quickly escaped the disarmor in the beginning. She took out Lynch's injured leg, or kayfabe injured leg, attempted to roll up the champ. Referee refused to count Lynch's shoulders, which was another referee botch of the night, which was very interesting. So, anyways, she's going for the pinfall, shoulders down. Referee tries to go to the other side of the ring because he realizes that's not supposed to be the end of the match. He could have counted to 4, which would have been the pin at 3, and instead, Becky gets the reversal into this disarmor for the win. I gave this match a C-. I wasn't a fan of this either. Becky, basically, she gets out of the ring. She's heading back up the ramp. Right as she starts to head back up the ramp, Charlotte's music hits. She wants to have the Women's Championship match of SmackDown right then, when it was supposed to be later on in the night. They decided to have it right there at that point. And so basically, the match ensues, and Charlotte defeats Becky on the worst kick of all time. It was an entire foot off of Becky's face or head. But basically the count was made. Lynch, the storyline behind it was Lynch, wasn't obviously at 100% after her first match, which nobody expected her to be. Flair attempted to hit the natural selection early on in the ring, but Lynch held onto the ropes. Flair immediately grabbed her back outside the ring. With the referee distracted, Lacey Evans came down and hit Lynch with the women's right. Flair attempted to take advantage, but Lynch rolled her up for a 2 3/4 count. Flair bounced out of that with that big boot to the face with the 1, 2, 3. I gave this a B. I thought this was better than the last match. I think that both of them have great chemistry in the ring. I'm just not a huge fan of seeing tons of these matches keep going on and on. We saw this with Triple H, Randy Orton. We're going to see another one of those matches at Super Showdown, which I'm not looking super forward to be honest with you. And we saw it with John Cena Orton. We've seen this with a lot of these, matches that go on in the past. And I can't give it much better than a B. But what came out of that was much better. And as I'm now a little bit more than halfway down the card, I'm actually going to take a break. And this is getting into being probably my longest podcast of all time. And I don't even care because I'm having a great time. We'll be right back with part 9. That'll probably finish everything out. We'll be right back.